That light goes on when they're recording, right?
That's when you're live.
Yeah. Hopefully it's been recording it so long. Okay. We call to order the meeting? Yeah?
Yep.
Do the, and it's just us, so yeah,
Okay,
let's do it.
sure.
You want to do the invocation?
Yeah. Heavenly Father, teach us to use our freedom to help to preserve and strengthen the freedom of all by respecting and upholding its laws, by supporting our law enforcement agencies, by informing ourselves on current issues, and by voting regularly and wisely, and by honoring the rights of other people. Watch over our staff, and we pray that they have a safe and logical as they continue to lead us at this time. In His name we pray. Amen.
Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Rolling right along.
Salute.
We're gonna,
Okay, just starting. Okay,
Okay.
and that you'll from when she and then note.
Okay. So, name, Sheena Stockton. Here.
Horst Kritzer here.
Bill V's town or council liaison.
Becky Weber is on her way.
Yep. And then you have
Norbert Demars is not here.
excused or unexcused.
He's unexcused that I know of.
Okay.
So I feel like I tattled on him.
He said he just spaced it out. I'm asking if he's home, he can get here in 5 minutes.
Okay, cool. All right, and that's it. We're gonna move forward.
Oh, but not much more we can do.
Not much more. So,
We can review.
You can discuss, you just can't take action. So you can table, you can do public comment, and then you can table your approval of minutes until Becky
Yes.
gets here.
public comment. Every meeting, it's still funny.
We can discuss about the mural.
Yeah, we can have this. Actually,
just can't
Becky's
vote.
walking in right now. If we just want to
Yay.
pause
Hey.
it. Hi. Welcome.
Really?
Oh, thank you for sitting in it for us. Oh, that's no big deal. We're just about to do approval of minutes, actually.
We can do it now.
We can do it now. I have the originals right here. I don't have a pen.
This way.
May I?
Sure.
All right.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes as set forth before us.
Can I second that? Voted? Done?
Move.
Never said he'll be here in 10.
Oh, brilliant.
And just note that you do have quorum now, already.
Yes, we do have a quorum. I just have to say it out loud, right? Because it.
I approve.
You approve. I'm gonna vote motion by Forrest. I always forget to do this, so. All right, we're gonna move on to our crab member items and reports. And currently the only thing on here is the mural ordinance, which is a new thing that they would like the crab help move forward.
Now, this is something that came in front of me some time ago, and we sent it back saying that what they were proposing was really restrictive. A lot of things that were in the mural ordinance were already covered by sign ordinances and ordinances about,
Yeah, and then I heard, I actually spoke to Joanne Champ today, and so kind of starting some sort of like public art committee, or just talking with some people who care about public art, to get something done, which as a community, not as a council thing. And so I think that the encouragement is if we push it along so that something is in place before some public art goes up, if it's that important. And so I spoke to her about that a couple weeks ago, and then also to Roger, and they said, can you guys meet about this and maybe take this on? And she told me today that LPA also has this. So I think that our question and maybe the request would be for, if you could find out if this is if the ordinance is being brought back to council anytime soon, who has it? Do you know that?
Does she want to, what can we do to move it forward? Recommend that they have a mural ordinance? Is that what they're asking Crab to do?
That they make the adjustments and bring it to the town council to be approved.
I've not seen it, yeah, I remember the old, mural ordinance, but I have not seen the thing about for now, and this must have come from town, I think that Chrissy put it on there.
Yeah, kind of a combination of a conversation with Roger, Joanne, and Christy.
Okay.
Um,
My feeling is that, with the sign ordinance and with the other things about, maintenance, like if I think if your building really needs to be painted, the town has an ordinance for that. I don't know if there's really much we need to do in a mural ordinance, maybe make sure it doesn't have profanity or political stuff, even that could be a trick, because then you get in the First Amendment rights.
do you know what sparked the initial conversation of we need a mural ordinance? Where did that come from? What started that?
We as a Crab was given the research about paintings on different structures in the town. And we thought it'd be a good idea. And then they started saying, well, what is appropriate and who's going to maintain it, and if we have a storm come by and the paint gets all peeled off, who's going to regulate that it has to be put back the way it was? That was my understanding. I'm not right on that?
They had the draft mural ordinance had things on there like, people had to put down a deposit, or some kind of bond in case, it was starting to weather, that they would go through and to date, they would have to match a color palette. There was a lot of, if I remember, a lot of pretty obscure stuff in there.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about a cultural aspect of art.
Right, and
Art
I mean,
isn't art if it's not free.
and part of it, of course, it's beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but that there are lots of people who think that this is beautiful and other people think it's ugly. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah, for sure.
But part of my view is if you're going to get artists to do this, and there is the Mural Society of Fort Myers, full of mural artists. If you get a talented artist, then they're going to do something interesting, and they should have their artistic license to do it.
We got another one.
There he is.
Hey, hey.
Hey!
I didn't even know it was Tuesday, sorry.
No, don't be
That's
proud.
where it
I
is when you're
beat you by
retired.
like 5 minutes, don't feel bad.
Take note that he is here
Oh.
and on.
Robert is here and is unexcused. Yeah.
All right, he says, all
All
right.
right. Man, I know that we discussed this, just really briefly, I think one meeting we talked about mural ordinances. I don't think we discussed it more than that one meeting. There was packets that we all prepared and then he had already had some. You guys remember that?
That was quite a while ago.
Yeah, we talked about actual mural projects,
And
and I had one, the CenturyLink building on here. I had that kind of on the
Yes.
line, but I didn't follow it up when the mural ordinance came on. That was going to make that a lot more complicated. And from the way they were talking, any kind of restrictions like that would have been deep sixth participation.
That would be about a year ago. I would
Okay.
think.
I'm all for rules, and I know we gotta regulate things, but I would think that if we wanted to have murals painted on buildings, and we agreed to have that done, but we want it done in good taste, and it seems like all you would have to have would be a draft from the artist of what they're gonna paint, and one of the town council could
Well, just be permitted, just like.
appoint a committee to review it and say, yeah, that's perfect, do it, that's what we want. Or no, we don't want this such and such on that building, go back and redesign that mural. Somebody, I know we have to have, somebody has to watch what happens, because we become Sodom and Gomorrah, I don't know, but
Well, I mean,
Great,
profanity laws still apply,
just kidding.
you know, I mean, if the church wanted to, you know, paint a version of hell there as
Yeah.
a lesson to people, you know, other people would take offense to that.
Right.
You know, I think that, I don't think the town council should be involved in approving individual.
I think, I kind of agree that it is more of like the sign ordinance. I'm not sure, like, as we talked briefly, and I just said, yes, sure, no problem, I'll ask CRAB if they can meet. That, you know, but, I think that I sort of agree that it's better for it to fall into the sign ordinance, because we're talking about size and width and all this, because if you get into like a committee, you know, a business should be able to paint something if they want to paint it.
I agree.
And the government shouldn't tell them if it's their building. You know, like, I don't know, I mean, I'm a little
Yeah,
out there, but I'm like, I'm gonna go paint, you know, I'm not talking about painting the street. Might be something I would.
if it's a public building, that's another thing, right?
If it's a public building or a building owned by the town, I think that's another thing where maybe, I think it would be best to actually form a committee of artists outside of this room, and cross each mural in East Bridge as it comes.
I think that's what Joanna's doing.
I think that is what she's doing. I think that what she was hoping is that maybe we could say or push down along that if this is important to you, having an ordinance is important, because otherwise it's gonna be too late. It's gonna go up. And I think that that's fair.
Yeah, things
How
aren't
do
going
we-
up now.
How do we do that?
In the time we've been talking about this, the Salty Crab put up a mural.
Exactly. So which, right, like, I mean, I don't, there's, I think that it's also like a conversation that's like, they put something that is like, promotes their building and it's pretty, versus like, hey, here's cultural artists that we brought in, and those are different things, but I don't know that they. I
Yeah,
think
I mean,
that's.
Salty Crab is fairly commercial with this, and it basically shows you have a beach deck.
And their little sign, and here, we're the Salty Crab, you know.
But there's a lot of, I mean, people just want pure.
I'm into that too. Like, I mean, I think they're for both. I guess the question is, I think the first thing that if CRAB is going to do anything about this, find out from whoever the chair of LPA is. This is on their agenda.
For murals?
Yeah.
Well, you know, this came up in front of Crab a while ago, and the town pulled it back, and this was probably 2 years ago. And it was really restrictive. Required the people to put up the mural to put some kind of bond, to, you know, keep it up if it starts getting faded, cracked, all this kind of stuff. And I think we just felt that was too restrictive. Would have made it less likely to put up a mural instead of more likely, and
Yeah.
trying to promote putting up murals. Right now, there's no ordinance, but it's a little tricky because since there's an ordinance being talked about, if you put something up that violates a future ordinance, you're still kind of liable for it. But we have sign ordinances, have ordinances about how you maintain your buildings. Our ordinances that have a lot of overlap.
Have overlap. Chelsea, is this anything like on the town's radar? Is this anybody else?
We had a department, I can tell you, we had a department head meeting today, and this was not listed on agenda management.
Good to know. Can you send me or give me Megan's email, and I'll just reach out and ask her. I'm allowed to do that, right? Just ask her a few questions.
Yeah.
Absolutely are.
Yeah, I think other than that, that's like the only step we can take at this point. And I think would be the best step. Don't know if you guys have any other like opinions or things you'd like me to ask Megan or to out about this.
Another thing to do is look at other parts of the ordinance. What already applies to a mural sign ordinance.
I would really find it interesting too. Maybe LPA's had the same exact discussion. Overlaps, we really don't even worry about it.
Not in the last 3 months.
Yeah, but I do know that,
But it's not been on their agenda.
I do know that, you know, they regularly go through the town codes and remove duplicates.
Oh,
Fairly
okay,
common activity for one
okay.
staff.
Okay, I think that, I guess the action required would be for just,
Yeah, you know, talk to Christie.
Yeah, are you sure that the LPA that's been put on their radar?
I have no idea what's on
Who
I'm not
said
sure
that?
either, it was just mentioned to me that I think LPA has this too. LPA has a lot of things, so just because they haven't discussed it in 3 months doesn't mean it's not on their list.
I think we could say, you know, we're interested in how we could help with it.
Yeah.
But if they have a couple committees working on that, we haven't had experience on this committee, a lot of luck
Yeah, I think that would be my
With
thing first.
getting together with other groups to move something forward.
Yeah, and that would be my thing. Is this on your agenda? Is there something we can do to help? If not, I would, and in turn, maybe reach out to Anne or maybe another artist that's interested in this and saying, if you're going to do this, how can we help? You know, if it's not getting an ordinance passed, are you gonna host an event? Do you want the there? But I don't really know how that works either because technically we're supposed to be tasked with a
We
job.
can't go out and grab a project without town council's
Yes,
recommendation. No.
Yes, you can.
not. Like, if you tell us to do it, but we have to be tasked by the council, otherwise we're not.
We're not,
It's legit, like, I'm about to go paint one myself in the middle of the night, see what happens.
Usually inside, I think inside the,
I'm just kidding, that's a joke.
inside in the divide, or I know it's certainly for Murph, but I think the most committees, there's something in there about, or whatever the committee. You're not, you don't have to wait for the town council to tell you to do something.
Where is that written?
In the actual documents that define what the
Okay.
committee does.
Let's check. Cause I obviously.
And I know that
wouldn't-
under some, I know, because I've been, you know, in the chair for a long time, on some councils or with staff, because there's been some turnover with staff, different town managers, that's the way they interpret, they played it. The others, you were encouraged. And actually,
Yeah.
the recent one, when Joanne became a liaison, they intentionally started having the council liaisons not attend every meeting because they wanted the committees to act with more independence.
I mean, I think, it was from my understanding, independence within the thing that we were tasked to do. Because thought that was like a government rule, not necessarily a council wants you to do this in this council, which I think is great either way, but I think we should look into it. If that's the case, then,
Now, what is a good idea strategically is to brainstorm with yourself, come up with the things you think fit within the community that you want to do, and then go to council and saying, here's what we would like to work on. And if the council says, oh, you know, A is not gonna happen, B we like, et cetera, so that you know what direction to take. You have to have some ideas, and you have to discuss things that weren't handed to you before you.
yeah, I mean, I think that's potentially an option. I mean, I guess first things first, something artistic is something we have had on our plates and could potentially be passionate about, whether it be a memorial, whether it be a mural, and it could be something we take on. But I think the first.
Then maybe have a discussion, just generally speaking. They put a mural ordinance in, and there's already a sign ordinance, there's already an ordinance. And would the committee recommend that there are certain restrictions put in place, or would the committee more recommend that they leave things as open as possible to inspire creativity?
I mean, I would definitely recommend open. That's our job, to reach out to LPA, see if they're gonna do it, and then make some recommendations. That is what our job is as a community.
And see, right, like with this, the way I said, you know, you can talk about a committee. If you decide that your recommendation was that the ordinance should be as light a touch as possible, then you make that recommendation, it'll go on the record.
You guys have any opinions about that?
Far and the bid on crab, Forest Critzer, bid on crab, I feel like that, there is a zest out in the public that wants to do more murals, okay? And it's the artist community. So I think that crab should recommend to council that they open the discussion up to those who are interested in murals and artistry and form a committee for that. I think that's what our citizen is reaching out to us to try to get done, to get it moving forward. It's not going to move forward until somebody directs council, which they've asked us to look at murals, and we've given them ideas. They haven't taken it away from us, so I think a good idea would be is for the council to form a committee to look into the painting of murals on the buildings. Sure. It is simple. I like that.
Wide open.
I do think as far as having the council form a committee, we have a committee. Don't need another committee. I mean, it's not like the agenda's so full with crab that we're looking for some, that we'd have no more time to do anything. The other thing is that I think that Joanne, who has been on numerous committees in town council, is doing this intentionally outside government. Because
I think that's,
they can meet more regularly, they can, raise funds and spend money without going through the amount of paperwork we have to do. Joanne?
Wants to move it forward.
She's working to try to encourage murals
yeah,
independently,
Probably in favor
I would assume.
by the council.
I agree.
And I intervene,
Yes.
help you guys out here. I did text Jason Green, who is the staff liaison to LPA. This discussion, this mural ordinance discussion, will be going to council at the M&P in October, and then the LPA in October.
Cool. Okay, so I don't know,
What's our involvement then?
what's our involvement then? Like,
Well, again,
It's not.
you can vote on a recommendation, then I will bring that to council and saying, well, Crab recommended
Crab
we have a light
recommends
touch on
that
it,
you-
or we have a heavy touch, or whatever. So you guys,
Okay.
it's up to you, come up with a motion, vote on it, and I will take it to council when the
Light
discussion
touch.
comes up.
Alternatively, request a joint session or to attend LPA meeting with them in October as part of the discussion. Then.
I think the issue of that October meeting is that two of us are up for re-up. And I'm not sure what Norbert's plans are. It will take at least one of us to have a quorum, to be able to hold these meetings.
So
New blood.
you have some time-sensitive decisions to make.
We do. I think that it would be benefit our time right now to say and basically request that we're all sort of in agreement of this light touch idea. We've discussed it. This is our opinion, and that it falls in that and not an additional ordinance is made, that you convey that when and if the mural meeting comes to council, the mural topic comes to council. And I think that would be it for our involvement at this point until we figure out how Crab's gonna continue in the future.
Need to make a motion on that.
I was just gonna say, it's gonna feel like some kind of game show, like Jeopardy. Okay, now put that in the form of a motion.
Make a motion, that, to the council, we give them a recommendation from CREB that a mural ordinance with a very light touch, oversight is put into place.
Okay. Agreed.
I don't think it has to be in the motion necessarily. I think it has to be in the motion, but certainly Sheena can talk to Megan.
I'll send that email to Megan, just, hey, we discussed this. I know this is, gonna be on your agenda and you'll probably see it through further than us. It's a good idea, though. I'll relay that's what happened. Good?
Have a motion in a second?
Okay, brilliant. We're gonna move down for items of discussion.
Vote on it.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Didn't we
Motion
do
is
that?
second.
You have to have a vote.
Oh, let's vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sorry. Now we move on? It's been a while, you guys.
You're doing right.
Yeah, it's been good. This is,
Items for discussion. I have one. Does anybody have any others before I?
I just wanted to do a follow-up from our June meeting. I'm going to let you start because I know what your question's going to be. Go for it.
I'm just going to keep it on the forefront with the war memorial that I've been fighting for several years now, as Bill's been on this committee. And finally something with direction came about, and now it's been frozen because of plans. I don't know what the answer is here to show a zeal for a tribute to be built. But if we keep bouncing it around within other projects, it seems it takes second. And me, it's first. But most people know my heart. They know why I say that. We were assigned that, and I would like to see our committee as CRAB go before council and put it on record that, well, we're going to add this to Bay Park, and that's on hold. So it's on hold for right now. There's people that want this, folks, and it doesn't have to be in Bay Park. It can be in Crescent. I mean, there's other places it could be. But we need to keep this moving if we can, and I would hope that CRAB would do that.
Maybe the because of Bayfront being a thing, which packet I have, maybe finding a different location is the first place to start. Crescent Park is county owned. Maybe not doing it through Fort Myers Beach and reaching out to the county is a better place to start too. Hey, we want this here. Here's a great spot. Can you help us? And I don't know. I'm just thinking.
No, I've never thought about that, but
Crescent.
that's
Yeah.
a good idea.
And maybe because so much of what we're doing and the rebranding in Bayfront and Oaks is maybe that's something to inquire about that may help. Crescent Park is a good spot for it.
Lynn Hall. There's already kind
Or
of a
Lynn
memorial
Hall.
anyway for Lynn Hall.
There's something there, and those things are owned by the county. It's possible that we can catch that one person that is really additionally passionate about it. That isn't so, we have a small town and a small staff that are very overloaded, and maybe that's something to at least inquire or look into when it comes to this, since it's been on the agenda for like 7 years.
I mean.
I'm exaggerating, but it's a lot.
No, I mean,
A lot.
I think the Bayfront Park remodels, that's been talked about for, just as long. And
Just as long, for sure.
And, the whole building thing, the upland facility, that's been a big wrench in the works now. And they've been taking in quotes to figure out what options there are, and until that's decided, then we really don't know what's gonna happen in Bayfront Park. And if we are gonna put it in Bayfront Park, you don't wanna put something in there and then find out that it's incompatible with the rest of the design.
Yeah.
'Cause then,
But knowing that
and also
something
works better with the design when you work it all together too.
knowing that something is county owned and is unlikely to have such giant adjustment, like Crescent Park, Lynn Hall. Be a really good avenue. I have collected, and I sent it via an email. Obviously, it hasn't been brought to town council, so I'm just going to give it to you for when the time comes. If any of you wants to see it. From our last meeting, Bayside Park project. So I got, I put the questionnaire together that we all recommended I do, and I have tons of answers and responses that were mailed to me, emailed to me from the community. I just wanted to feel heard on the project, and then also some notes that were like submitted, maybe some said, oh, in July of 2016. I think it's important to see. So I have that all together, and I'll just leave that with you.
Okay, is it in digital form too, or is it?
I have both. Yeah. But I printed it because things get lost. So either this will get thrown away or that'll get lost, but either way, I feel I've done something tangible. And I felt like the people that took their time to write these answers would care about having it printed out and handed to our liaison, so. Anything else?
I have two questions, actually. First question is about the mooring field. Date on the status of that?
Like the upland facility for the mooring
Yeah.
field?
That's this,
Okay, so that's,
That's part of
that's the
that.
Bayside Park project, and it is completely on hold, from my understanding. Is that right, Chelsea? Bayside Park's on hold?
I'll turn to your council liaison for,
Like I said, they've put out, here's the options, and it's first we have to figure out what to do with the upland facility, right? And so the choices are leave it as is, put it in the basement of the ground floor of the Harbor House, either buy that from them and run it ourselves, or remodel it ourselves and have them run it. There's been some concern with having them run it. There's a little bit of back and forth between, I think, some and Sandra runs it. Leave it, so there's, four options, or then build the building in Bayfront Park.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of four options. Kind of waiting to see what the bottom, and we did get a presentation about what the numbers are like to build it in the downstairs. We can buy that outright. It's down the bottom of the Harbor House. It's really not very used property anyway, and it's not that expensive. So odds are, and I can't really tell you what I think, but my feeling is there's been enough pushback on in the way the council talks that they're not looking at a building there. That kind of means going back to square one where we were before. Stage, what does the stage look like? Was discussion putting bathrooms there, although there are bathrooms there, but nobody knows about them. When it's Snug Harbor and no signs. So the way it says it could probably go is that we'll do either something new or keep it the way it is, and then go back to square one and design that park without that first.
With a tribute.
Maybe it's separate, or maybe it is the stage. Like I told you, I thought it makes sense to have, you're having a show, it's at Veteran Stage or Memorial Stage or something.
advisory actually meets tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I'm the staff liaison to that, and I'm discussing alternative options for the upland service. Or come if you want.
I think that, considering this project, the mural project, the thing, a lot of, I think, seats open on our committee and other things that are passionate to volunteer. Whatever we haven't had luck doing, maybe support as we can. LPA committee's up, and I don't know if there's spots on the Anchorage. One on Anchorage, one
I'm on the public safety.
Well, I think that I may just respond to that emailed me. You know, you're all passionate. There's an open seat.
Yeah, I mean, you gave them a voice by having them participate in this, but they really want a voice too.
If you really, yeah, I mean, that's,
Another.
yes,
one more question.
yeah, please.
That goes back to website, the apps. If we can get an update on what's going forward or changes to on website, and I hadn't heard anything, and I was just curious if CRAB could be of assistance.
Anything about that? Anybody?
Yeah, actually, that's part of your, department, isn't it?
Yes and no. We all wear multiple hats. I believe a communication plan was to the town council at your last meeting. I believe,
Yeah, the public information officer's matrix, is that what you mean?
and that's, our in of Civic Plus and the website. Not too privy as to what Jenny's workload is and the web and apps and stuff, but a lot of what she's doing, posting online. I think that communication played or presented at the last meeting might give you some insight. If not, give her an email.
She laid out a matrix. How often she updates different things between Twitter and Facebook and mails
Social
and the
media
whole thing.
and-
And I think this actually happened with the last council, that my impression is that instead of an app, they went with this text messaging thing, where you have a number and you send a text message and then you get an answer. And that, they said that she's gotten quite a few hits off it. So in the 1,000 or something.
I mean, I noticed some more activity on the, for topics.
I think the
Social
public
media.
information officer, yeah,
Public information,
she's really driving a lot of
marketing,
that.
and app, but I don't know that, that's
Thing, yeah.
the thing, so I don't know how you can answer that. I don't really know what, maybe she, I don't know how to keep that, but like, I'm not sure why just launching the app hurts, because it doesn't hurt the rebrand. That's an answer to that either.
I'll fill your pothole and put up your street sign. I don't have an answer for the
Yeah,
marketing
yeah,
side.
so-
Sorry.
I'll
No,
keep
it's
that in mind.
okay.
Thanks so much.
And you have done those things for me, Chelsea, and I appreciate it.
But, it's one of these things, like it seems kind of funny that we have Instagram and Twitter and Facebook when they all essentially do the same thing. And there's a pretty fine line between what you can do on a mobile webpage compared to what you do with an app.
To me, they all did the same thing, but they're a part of media marketing. So I understand having them all. I think she's actually doing a very good job, I've noticed on our Facebook. And you also have different types of people. Our island has young people, older people, middle-aged people, and young people use Twitter, older people use Facebook. Like, I have all of those things too. I think an app is a separate thing. Even besides that, I think the issue with the app is that it's already built, not being used, and that is what's confusing, and what the purpose of holding on to it is. But
Well, what we
we've
have,
asked that several times and not really gotten an answer, so I don't,
I think we have a prototype, Becky was looking to hand it over to somebody to finish the development. And that was even before we had our branding and our,
Was asked to.
so, it did require some resources going forward. Becky?
no, it's a fair question. You put a lot of work into it. Hopefully, maybe if, and I don't even know if that's in her wheelhouse. Building an app is totally different than someone who's in marketing. And so maybe that's part of the struggle too, is figuring out whether that's a job she can. I get it.
Of a different, similar but different skill set, which kind of segues into something that I am actually going to bring you from council. We discussed this at our last meeting. Part of the app, and one of the big drivers of the app was just to have something in someone's hand that they can hit a button and say, where's the closest bathroom? Right? That was one of our big points of that thing. Then where are all the other attractions? We talked about putting up signs. The Public Safety Committee was going to put up electronic signs in shelters. That got complicated because that's on county land, not on town land. And the idea that we discussed at council was, you see them around, people have these posts with signs pointing every different direction. Is to do that in our town and have have them at every one of our major points of interest, pointing to the other points of interest, and to where the nearest bathrooms are. So the idea is you'd have one at Newton Park, and Newton Park would have a sign to the Mount House, have a sign to Bayfront Park, have a sign Times Square,
Good idea.
maybe some other places. And the council described, you know, because now we have a color palette, right, of our new logo, is that come up with like a branding or an identity for each location. So Mount House would be like maybe a manatee. You know, Newton Park could be a dolphin, or a different color scheme. Maybe a different color scheme depending on where in town it is. So downtown is, you know, blue, and Foley Island is green, or something like this. And just come up with a plan about where we put the signs, what they would look like, and then move forward with having the signs placed in the properties that are being developed, and maybe even just doing a sample sign at somewhere like Newton Park, which is not being developed. And there. So this is kind of a quick hitter. Council already said this is a good idea.
One question. Anyone else have it on their agenda? Do the marketing people that are doing the other things, the other signs, do they have it on their agenda? Is there rebranding being made for beach access signs? Then these will get quaboshed because they don't look like the new beach access signs.
I can tell you, because I'm coordinating with
Cool.
parking, and the beach access pole signs and the beach access signs themselves are under my purview.
Okay.
That, right now in the forefront is the parking signs, spaces. We were trying to time the pole signs with the construction of the boulevard, and so we're a mile behind where they're at. But they have to, with the pole signs, those have to be engineered. And so we know the mill, the thickness and everything. It's just pretty colors and design that she's working on with the branding firm with.
Okay.
But in the forefront are the parking signs, and then beyond that are the beach access pole signs and the beach access signs, which have to be designed and then designed, created, all the fun stuff, so.
So I think if this was something we took on, it would be best to come up with ideas to submit to the marketing people, design it, because otherwise it's not going to match.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, you work within the same color palette. These are a small item. The other thing is, okay, now with the beach access signs are all going to be the same, just for numbers and maybe whatever features there are, parking or
Potentially,
bathrooms.
right now, they alternate, there's two different, I know that's going to be next.
So one complaint I've heard from people going up and down the boulevard, particularly at night, is they don't know where they are on the island. Once you get out of downtown, after a few beers at night, it all looks the same. So one potential idea is to come up with maybe some kind of hint of color that tells you where you are on the island. And then we could use the same color in the signs.
I think it's a good idea, and I think it would be a fun project. I guess, to me, based on our experience, I don't think you can have this on our agenda without us talking to the people that are already designing things. But I'm not sure, I'm not saying no, but also, again, I think it is a really cute idea. I think it'd be adorable. I don't know if you're gonna be, continuing. I am probably not going to continue, on Crab. So I don't know if you'll have enough people to continue meeting. Maybe these things can go on the agenda based on that.
Things will change with the reappointment. It's bound to change. But I would, I would do whatever you want to do at this point and not worry about if you have a recommendation, you just want to discuss it with any ideas. And like in this, no one's asking you to go and necessarily build the signs.
Yeah.
They're asking for advice. So, and some of the things we talked about, and if we come up with this kind of branding of the different properties, it could be that in the design that Chelsea's talking about, maybe that's something they really hadn't thought about and they want to incorporate, or maybe it's something that's incompatible with what they're doing. But you make the suggestion, you put it out there and saying, this is what we think would work.
I think then that would be my recommendation, since this is likely my last meeting, is that everybody just have, Google some similar signs, and if you see something that strikes you, write it down and move.
I had the app together, I had actually had a site.
This is like Reach Beach access or every, just the main Newton Park. Woodhouse.
Each of those sites I
Yeah.
assigned a creature to. So some of those ideas are,
They're like, yeah, I think it's really cute and a great idea,
I make a suggestion that may meet in the middle. This is the first I've heard of this, and part of it is just not knowing. Our media person's new. Maybe each of you coming up with your own ideas and collating it either with your liaison or one of you take that charge at your next meeting and just pass that information along and those ideas. And maybe you all go home and you all have a dolphin on your list. That's what you want to, maybe that's the committee's recommendation to consider that. Or like you said, if you already have these creatures designed, then, I mean, again, part of it is just sharing of information. That's what
Yeah.
your liaison's trying to emphasize.
okay.
Or even come up with other, come up with your suggestions for the month.
then we can change them around, but it's just an idea on a
Yeah,
piece
that's
of
a
paper in
great
front of
way to
us.
start.
And there's two ways to look at it too, when you look, because of the actual physical silhouette of the creature. If something you want to stick on the sign, like as a $10 that you're gonna, paint on the sign, then that is something that's better if it's kind of rare. But if you want to do something like, if the silhouette of the sign itself is a creature like a dolphin, make that a sign and have it the shape of a dolphin, or a manatee, or maybe a pelican, or some other things. Some creatures would make sense to be in that kind of, where a sand dollar doesn't really point anywhere.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Yes, I second that motion. Have to take a vote on it?
Yeah, if you have a motion, you just take a vote on it. You can discuss it now if you want.
I like it.
I like it, yeah. Oh, that we do that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Don't be upset, I do have somewhere to be, so I want to make sure, is there anything else?
Only other thing is, everyone knows, you already mentioned reappointments. If you know anybody who'd be good in it, if you want to put it out there, and we can also work with the PIO to announce that these openings are coming up.
I know she's been pushing it hardcore the last month with
Yeah, I've
on all
noticed that.
forms of social media.
I'll send some things out, and I am still giving it some thought, but,
How many potential empty seats do we have?
Robert's in mine.
And, well, there's seven. There's 7.
There's 7 total.
So we're talking 5 potential slots to fill. You gonna tell us what you're
I haven't decided.
Okay.
Christie printed it out for me, so I said I'd give it some more thought.
I believe the deadline is coming up soon, but I mean, if you have
think the
vacancies,
16th.
they're gonna
Take
fill
them.
'em, so.
I here realize
Who's waiting? We weren't voting on anything. We were just discussing. We couldn't vote until we had a quorum.
You can't take any actions, but you can talk.
We can talk.
And I think, and you probably want to verify this, that the way it works is you have to have a quorum to be a committee. The majority of the 7 seats committee and to have a meeting, right? But then you have to have the majority of those that are actually on the committee, a quorum. You need 3 of the 4.
so then you did. I'm trying to say that
We
always
always
need-
need you,
I
Norbert.
was gonna say the same thing. We need you. but-
I need,
I guess I misunderstood.
okay. Anything else?
I did mention this is going to happen, of course, with the next thing, because the council put it off, is that We are planning for October sometime to have a joint meeting with the chairs of the committees and town council. And we've
That's a
done
great
that
idea.
before years ago.
That's a
And
very good
this
idea.
is Larry Kiker's day. And it was a good way, not just to talk to the town council about what you're doing, but have all the different committees talk about what they're doing and look for overlap. And
That's brilliant.
I have a question regarding that. Are
Right.
you going to be able to be at that meeting, representing CRAB?
this will be after the next
Will be
reappointment.
after the next appointment,
After the
so I
next
will
one.
have to agree to be,
Yes.
and even then, you
You have to
can
reorganize.
reorganize and revote who the chair is. I am thinking about it. So,
That's the thing, you don't have to stand for chair. If the chair thing is too much for you, you don't have to stand for
it's all
chair.
the same. It's not about that I don't want to, or it's just, I have a lot going on in my life, and I don't like to half-ass things. So I use words like half-ass behind the critic. Guys! Okay, forgive me, I have a meeting shortly. If there's not, is there anything else?
And down your list, you guys were on items for discussion. Wrap that up.
Yep, we're on items up for discussion. Nothing else for that, then, and public comment. And we have set agenda for next meeting. I think I would hold on that and to make sure that a quorum
We
is
got-
there, and then if not, it would.
Well, it's a good habit.
And we also have reorganization.
The
Reorganization, sign, the signs he discussed, and then whether I say anything again, come back or not, I'll make sure to share whatever Megan and I discuss so that you can discuss it at your next meeting. Yeah?
Will you keep the murals off, or you want to keep it on?
I'll just, I guess, keep it on and,
Continued.
yeah, because you can just discuss, like, whatever I find out from LPA and from Megan, that can be what you
An
guys discuss
update,
at that point.
basically.
Just like an update on what happened.
So just so I can relay this clearly to Christy, you basically keeping the same agenda. We're adding the reorganization in the beginning. Going to add the signs that Mr. Veach discussed.
Yes.
And then the creatures you're going to discuss.
Which are a part of the signs, right?
Part of the signs.
Okay.
The branding part of the signs. The only thing I'd add is, Robert and Sheena, whether you're here or not, and actually all of you guys, thanks for your service and volunteering and putting your time in for the town. I appreciate it and the town appreciates it.
Adjournment? Thank you, Chelsea, for,
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
yes, seconded. Mama's gotta go.
I'll approve.
Approved. Peace out, my friends.
10 minutes to spare, Sheena.
I know.
Roll.
How you doing, Becky? I haven't seen you in a while, it seems.
Oh, we haven't seen each other. Hope everything is great with everybody.